For years now, everyone's been trying to solve this mystery, this strange illness that's been hitting diplomats and spies all over the world. But what if the weapon they're looking for wasn't cooked up in some secret foreign lab? What if it was built right here, in the United States? This is the story of the civilian kill chain and how the terrifying technology of neuroweapons might have been turned on our own people. You know, the official story always seems to point the finger at foreign bad guys. But if you start digging, if you follow the trail of declassified documents, patents, and federal contracts, a very different picture starts to emerge. It's a story that pulls our focus away from some external enemy and shines a bright, uncomfortable light on a domestic defense contractor operating right out in the open. So let's start where most people's understanding of this begins, with Havana syndrome. It's become this huge enigma that's really stumped the intelligence community for years. And it's a critical piece of the puzzle because it proves, without a doubt, that something very strange and very damaging is happening to U.S. personnel. Now listen to these symptoms. We're not talking about minor headaches here. These are debilitating, life-altering, career-ending neurological injuries. The symptoms are absolutely real, and the human cost is just devastating. The big question has always been, what on earth could be causing this? And this wasn't just a few isolated cases in Cuba. It exploded into a global problem, affecting over 200 people. It got so big, in fact, that the U.S. government had to formally recognize it. They passed the Havana Act, which basically created a legal admission that, yes, these anomalous health incidents, these directed energy attacks, are real. So, how is any of this even possible? To really get that, you have to look beyond the headlines and dive into the actual science. And here's the kicker. The technology behind all this isn't some new futuristic concept. The basic principles have been understood for more than 60 years. It's called the Frey effect. And to put it simply, it means you can use pulsed radio frequency energy to make someone hear a sound that isn't actually entering their ears. Basically, the microwave energy creates a tiny, super fast expansion in the brain tissue itself, and your brain interprets that vibration as sound. This is the real physical science behind what people call V2K, or voice-to-skull technology. And please, don't think this is just science fiction. The U.S. Patent Office has granted multiple patents for devices designed to do exactly this. And just look at who filed one of these key patents: the United States Air Force. This isn't just a theory. It is documented, patented, and ready to be weaponized engineering. And they have known about the potential of this stuff for a very, very long time. This is a quote from an Air Force review from 1982. It says right there that radio frequency radiation fields could be used as revolutionary anti-personnel weapons. They even predicted these fields could disrupt mental functions and maybe even direct behavior. That was over 4 decades ago. Okay, so the tech is real. It's been on the military's radar for decades. But who's actually building the modern versions of these systems? Well, our investigation points to one place in particular, a defense contractor in Waterford, Connecticut, called Sonalists Incorporated. Now, what you have to understand about Sonalists is the sheer concentration of talent they've brought in. It's like they've systematically recruited PhDs with the perfect skill sets to weaponize neuroscience. You've got experts who know how to pull behavioral data from people, cognitive scientists who model how we think, and neuroscientists who can turn a brain scan into a weaponized computer model. It's a complete end-to-end assembly line for cognitive warfare. And here it is. If you needed a smoking gun, this is probably it. This is the actual title of a research project from 2022. It doesn't get much clearer than that. Brain-machine interface technology to dominate cognitive warfare. And who was this project coordinated with? Sonalist's leadership and the Air Force's top biobehavioral research unit, the 711th Human Performance Wing. And this isn't just some small side hustle for them. Public records show an active contract worth $6.2 million from the Air Force Research Lab, specifically for something called force optimization. Now, in defense speak, that means using technology to enhance and, well, manipulate human cognitive and physiological abilities. And this funding is locked in all the way through 2029. So we've identified the actor. The next question is, how does it actually work? How do you deploy this kind of technology against a person? Well, the process is a dark reflection of traditional military doctrine. They call it the civilian kill chain. So the military has this sequence they use: find, fix, track, target, engage, and assess. It's for hitting a physical target.
But look at how that same logic gets applied to a civilian target. Instead of finding enemy coordinates, the system finds a target through mass data surveillance. And instead of launching a missile, it engages with directed energy to mess with their brain. It's a cold, methodical, automated process for psychological warfare.
And what makes this whole kill chain actually possible is artificial intelligence. A human just can't do this in real time. But an AI? It can decode a person's unique emotion signature, basically the brain patterns of their feelings, calculate the exact microwave frequency needed to trigger a state like fear or confusion, and then automatically engage the target. It's a closed-loop system, running at the speed of a machine.
And this is probably the most chilling part of it all. Once you build a system like this to use against a foreign population, turning it inward against your own people, well, that's not a technical problem. The infrastructure is exactly the same. The only thing you have to change is the target's coordinates. Now, I know this is a terrifying picture, but the research doesn't just stop at outlining the problem. It also proposes a solution, and it uses the same kind of strategic thinking as the weapon itself, a kill chain for remediation. This framework maps out a 5-front attack. You've got the bureaucratic angle, which is all about following the money, the oversight angle, which uses whistleblowers to force this stuff into the light, the legal angle, which aims to hold the actual operators criminally responsible, the economic angle, which cuts off their funding, and finally, the normative angle, which is about establishing new international human rights to make these programs unacceptable. It's literally a blueprint for how to dismantle the whole system.
The research that we've gone through here doesn't just analyze a problem. It's a call to move from just analyzing to actually doing something.
So this explainer was put together using the Liberation Archives, which is a collection of declassified documents and whistleblower testimony that really forms the foundation of this entire investigation. The sources point to the Neuropsychological Warfare Alliance as a key organization for people who want to fight back against this. By getting organized, the hope is to support the victims and finally bring some real oversight to these powerful hidden technologies. And really, the question this leaves us with is, if we don't demand transparency right now, who will?